Hello and a warm welcome to today's edition of Mexico News Network's Breaking News Business. I'm your host, Elliot Bullman. Remember to follow us on all our social networks and to catch us every day by logging onto our website, mexiconewsnetwork.com, for relevant stories and news. Let's start with today's show. The tourist industry is one of the sectors with greatest boom and economic importance in Mexico, representing 8.5% of its GDP. It's also one of the most sensitive ones because it largely depends on independent factors such as the climate or insecurity, which in recent days is reaching destinations in the country that previously had no impact whatsoever, such as Los Cabos, Cancun or the Riviera Maya. The United States Department of State updated its travel alert to its citizens, where it included precisely these tourist destinations. As a response, the Mexican authorities, instead of pretending to cover the sun with a finger, assured that rather than worry, they're working to solve a problem that is afflicting not only Mexico, but the most important tourist destinations in the world. Security is the #1 element to detonate the number of visitors and also the investments, said the head of the Mexican Secretariat of Tourism, Enrique de la Madrid, who added that the situation of the alerts, more than reacting with dismay, it must be taken as a wake-up call that forces everyone, both the tourist sector and the federal government as a whole, to think about what else can be done to work more closely on the issue of security. However, and not to minimize the subject of the insecurity, it's important to point out that the numbers in Mexico regarding tourism are getting better. Only in the first half of the year in temporary accommodation and food and beverage preparation services, production increased by 6.6%, implying its highest rate in a year and a half. In the first quarter of 2017, tourist GDP grew by 3.3% in relation to the same period of 2016. That is more than the general GDP, which registered growth of less than 2.5%. According to data from Sector itself in 2016, for the fourth consecutive year, international tourism recorded historical figures, with the arrival of 35.1 million international tourists, and a 50% growth in the 4 years of this administration. In the first half of 2017, Mexico received 19.2 million international tourists, 12.2% more than in the same period of 2016. While in the same period, the country received $11.104 million in tourist currencies, 9.8% more than in the same period of 2016. This has led Mexico to occupy 8th place of the most visited countries in the world, when in 2013 it was in 15th place. But we'll not only refer to foreign visitors because the so-called domestic tourism has also had an exponential increase in recent years, with more than 226 million domestic tourists that toured the country in 2016, 20% more than was recorded in 2012 when the current administration began. On a related subject, with an influx of 9,409,732 tourists in the last 10 months of 2017 alone, Quintana Roo remains the main tourist destination in Mexico, accounting for about 50% of tourism GDP, and from the 9 billion pesos of commercialized tourist products, 30% are for Quintana Roo. In this summer period alone, the economic spurt generated by the state was $1.976 billion, increasing 1.4% since the previous year, which is due to the fact that the destination has almost 94,000 rooms, the largest number of hotel rooms in the country, followed by Jalisco with 66,079 and the City of Mexico with 51,192 rooms. As for the arrival of tourists by sea, there's no comparison. Cozumel continues to hold the top place in cruise reception worldwide. Only in 2016, the arrival of cruise passengers to Mexico showed figures of 5,929,223 pesos in 2,180 cruises, and so far this year maintains the leadership of the world ranking with 3.6 million passengers. With this, we can only conclude that although much remains to be done to counteract the perception that the United States travel alert caused, the Mexican tourist industry continues to be one of the biggest growing ones. Hence the importance that the 3 levels of government urgently address the problems that could make it falter. And finally, let's turn to the markets. The Mexican peso increased 0.07% to 17.88 from 17.87 in the previous trading session. IPC Mexico decreased 0.21% to 51,267 from 51,373 in the previous trading session. This was all for today. Thank you for staying with us. I'm your host, Elliot Bullman. Remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and log on to MexicoNewsNetwork.com for more information on Mexico and the world. Until next time.